If you would raise your hand for a question, we'll call on you. But first, Coach Collins, if you would just give an opening statement on how excited you are to be in Kentucky.
Definitely. I appreciate you guys for having me on, number one, first and foremost, but tremendously excited about the opportunity to be here at the University of Kentucky with Coach Stoops. Done a phenomenal job of building the program, continuing to develop the brand, and excited to be on the defense with Coach White, Coach Summerall, Coach Stewart, man, Coach Buff, man, a really, really exciting and exciting time for my family and extended family here in Kentucky. So thank you guys for having me again.
Awesome. Okay, first question, we'll go with Lonnie Demery. Please introduce yourself, Lonnie, and tell them who you're working for.
Lonnie Demery, Kentucky Sports Report, Coach.
How are you?
Congratulations to your new addition to your family.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, sir. So I had a chance to FaceTime with him early this morning while he was getting his bottle, his early morning bottle. So I appreciate it.
Did you have any previous knowledge of Coach Stoops other than the fact of what he's doing? I'm talking about personal knowledge. Did you have any personal contact with him prior to now, prior to hiring all of him, past calls or whatever?
Outside of being a legend in the game of football, in terms of defensive back play and in terms of defensive play overall, we really didn't have any previous connections. So I knew him again from afar and definitely admiring his work throughout his career. Again, as a defensive coordinator, defensive back coach, so on and so forth. And then as a head coach here, has done a phenomenal job. But in terms of a relationship outside of that, no, sir, we didn't. Our first conversation was throughout this interview process, and we've had many since then, but leading up into it, no, sir.
Josh Moore.
Hey, Chris, welcome. I'm Josh with the Lexington Herald Leader.
Hey, Josh.
When you come here from Georgia State,
yeah,
and kind of was in charge of their recruiting there, what I understand, and kind of what did that role? I guess what did that look like for you there?
Yeah.
And what do you like? What is your recruiting role? How do you see that playing out here? I guess how much do you expect to take on in that respect?
Yeah. So I was blessed to have the opportunity to be able to move into the recruiting coordinator role at Georgia State, and I had some guys in terms of staff there that worked hard at it. We were really invested. My job there was kind of helping organize our attack. How are we going to be aggressive and getting the kids the right fits in terms of for our program at that time. And so Coach Elliott, the head coach at Georgia State, blessed me with the opportunity to be really flexible in that, in terms of our approach and be really creative in that regards. And we had a smaller department in terms of recruiting. We didn't have a lot of people, a lot of hands on deck. So it was a lot on the coaches, a lot on the support system that was in place to be able to get the right pieces. So here I'm excited about having a lot more resources to be able to continue to grow in that creativity and how we reach kids, how we reach their families, get them on campus, man, and give them an opportunity to see what a phenomenal place we have to offer, both academically and football program-wise and community-wise as well. So, those pieces were really important to helping us grow it at Georgia State, and I'm excited about being able to develop those relationships here and get those guys to campus and get them a chance to wear this beautiful Kentucky blue.
Hey, Chris, Derek Terry from Cats Falls 24/7 Sports. I've got another recruiting question for you as well. Moving up now, obviously you're at a solid group of 5 school, but being in the SEC, I guess you personally, how eager are you to kind of see how you stack up on the recruiting trail against other SEC schools, other Power 5 schools?
Oh, I can't wait. Chomping at the bit. We've had a chance to talk a little bit recruiting and kind of strategy and kind of names on the board and all that stuff. So I'm excited about digging in and building those relationships. At the end of the day, it's about relationships, it's how you treat people. It's about understanding where you are and where they want to go and helping those young men and their families get to that point. You know what I mean? And so I'm excited about the opportunity. Can't wait to get to it, roll my sleeves up and get to work old-fashioned, feet on the ground, blue-collar mentality, excited about it. So.
Good morning, Chris. Larry Bell of VoxViews.com.
Hey, good morning.
Personal mentor to Nathan Fuqua. So
my guy, yes, sir.
Remember that.
Yeah, okay, 10-4.
Tell me a little bit about what you're hoping or looking forward to as far as working under Brad White and learning from Brad White.
Man, first off, Coach Fuqua, man, mentor, brother, It's been a phenomenal influence in my life, and tremendously grateful for the time that I spent with him. Georgia State, short story, he actually recruited me coming out of high school, believe it or not. I didn't mean to age him a little bit. Forgive me, Nate, but no, great guy, and I definitely enjoyed working with him and working for him. But Coach White, man, a phenomenal football mind, extremely detailed in his teaching, has a plan of attack that's really organized, similar in terms of structure to where we were at Georgia State, which is very helpful. But again, extremely excited about being able just to be a sponge, being able to soak up as much information. I'm a big why guy. I want to know the overall, not just the defensive backs, which is very important, but the strengths, the weaknesses of the overall pieces of it all together and how they work. And it helps me do a better job of helping our players understand what their job is. So I'm tremendously excited about working with Coach White. He's been phenomenal in terms of this whole process. I mean, really amazing. First-class individual. I mean, first-class guy. And so I'm blessed to be able to help join the fight to better and elevate this defense.
Nick Roush from Kentucky Sports Radio. I'm curious, you got the recruiting coordinator position. It's pretty good job at right around 30. What kind of skills do you have as a recruiter that helped you get that promotion so early in your career?
I think the biggest thing is what we talked about earlier, man. It's a relationship business, in terms of recruiting. So the most important thing to me in terms of being known as a good recruiter is being honest, being upfront, being transparent. Who you are is who you are, and understanding that these young people are 18-year-old, 19-year-old, sometimes 20-year-old young people that want to be pushed to be successful, right? And those are the guys that you want to identify with, and those are usually the guys that continue to develop and get better, and so that footprint doesn't change. It doesn't matter the level. You want to get guys, you want to be with families that are good people, that want to continue to get better, want to be challenged to be better, you know what I mean? And so I'm excited about moving that to the next level in terms of the SEC. But again, at the end of the day, they're still people, and those relationships are really important. And to build relationships, it takes work. To build trust, it takes work. And so excited about doing the work, and so I think you asked the question specifically what kind of, put me in that regards. I think it's the want to do the work to build those relationships on a day in and day out basis.
In regards to relationships, are there areas in particular that you have deeper connections to than others on the recruiting trail?
Of course, we were in the state of Georgia, the 285 loop. I've been blessed to recruit that for a while, even before I was at Georgia State. So very familiar with a lot of those coaches, a lot of those programs in that area, as well as South Florida. I've been recruiting that area for a while as well. And then home for me is North Carolina, and so that 40 corridor, I'm very familiar with that as well. So those are kind of the three main areas that really familiar with. But, in terms of recruiting coordinator, I was blessed to be able to get to a lot of different areas and touch a lot of different players, and build relationships in a lot of different places in terms of defensively and for our overall team in the recruiting process. So long story short, relationships are very important. I have some strong ties in that state of Georgia, phenomenal football state in terms of high school football, and then in the South Florida area as well. We had a pretty good pipeline coming up into the state of Georgia, and then home for me, North Carolina, has been good to us as well. So, excited about continuing to build that, build that footprint in whatever avenue is needed here.
One second, Coach. I think we can make the sound a little bit better for the guys on the call. So give me 1 minute and we'll get to the next question.
Okay.
So we're going to need to keep going as we are.
Okay.
So, yep.
All right.
Yep.
All right, Josh Moore, you're up next.
I think you're muted. Yep, there we go. No, you're fine.
I'm curious, Chris, how did you get on, how did you kind of get on Coach Stoops' radar, and what, I know Coach Landis
Yeah.
him there.
Yeah.
He was on Georgia State staff. Did he kind of, I guess, did y'all talk about this before you kind of went into it? I guess, what's the, how did it kind of spark there?
Yeah, so literally, I mean, the story goes very simple, not very complicated. We're sitting in the office one afternoon, and Landis, my guy, he comes in, and Landis bleeds Kentucky blue, by the way. So he came in my office and said, "Hey, Coach Clinkscale is leaving. Would you be interested?" I said, "Yeah, sure." Literally, that was the conversation. And so, long story short, I guess he reached out to a few guys here and kind of got a pulse for what the situation was and kind of what Coach Stoops was looking for and Coach White were looking for. And I gave them my information. And then, from there, I guess they kind of did their due diligence and calling around and asking different people and all those things. And had the opportunity to be in front of a few different people in terms of the football setting, a few different times in my career. So I was lined up. And then got on the phone with Coach Stoops and had a great initial conversation with him. Meanwhile, at that time we were literally going through the labor process with my wife. So that process kind of happened in terms of the initial communication. And then from there, myself and Coach Stoops and Coach White had plenty of conversations after that kind of led to the next phases of the interview process. And the rest is history, man. We're here.
We got last three questions. We'll start with John Wong.
Hey, Chris, John Wong, JustTheCats.com.
Hey, John.
Welcome to Kentucky.
Thank you, John.
You're a young, up-and-coming coach, obviously very enthusiastic. You've got your own network out there right now. But what is the perception of Kentucky football out there? You talked about the brand.
Yeah,
what is that
yeah.
brand?
Right now, the brand is a program, man, that's known for developing talent. I mean, that's the brand. You got an opportunity to be at an elite level and play in an elite conference, right? And particularly as a defensive back, for me as a young coach, so excited about being able to develop and grow under Coach Stoops. But for those young guys coming out of high school, having the opportunity to see, just where they can develop and grow into and have a chance to play at the highest level, right? And then continue not just on the field, but off the field, pursuing those dreams of greatness, right? And then being able to chase that dream into the NFL, right? So that brand of Kentucky football has continued to build. I think Coach Stoops has done an amazing job of building culture and a foundation, right? And now you're starting to see those layers, right, stack up year after year after year of that phenomenal culture and foundation that was in place, that's been in place. So, that's, to me, outside looking in, an immediate draw, a chance where I know I'm going to be challenged to be the best version of myself, all right, to be able to develop both on and off the field. I think is something that every young man is excited about, and especially the guys we want here to be excited about. We don't want a finished product. We don't want a guy that says, hey, I can't get any better. You know what I mean? We want a guy that's excited about getting better, excited about that process.
Okay, two more. Larry Bott, and then we'll finish with Nick Roush. Larry?
Yeah, thanks again, Coach. Just mainly wondering what you also hope to learn from Vince Marrow when it comes to recruiting. And if you could also throw in, just wondering, what did your wife think about you going through job negotiations when she's going through labor? Big on that.
Yeah. So we're still happily married, you know what I mean? So she was very supportive. I made sure before any of this transpired, I got the first call from Coach Stoops, and I said, Coach, I got to check with the captain now. I got to check with the captain before we move this thing any more forward. And she was all on board. She's tremendously excited. We've got a phenomenal support system. My mother-in-law's at the house with her. Her sister's close. My parents have been down to be a part of Christopher in his first couple of weeks of life. And so, tremendous support system at the house. And she's doing an amazing job of kind of getting things in place, man. So I definitely did make sure before any of this went any further than just a phone call that she was good with it, Larry. So I appreciate it. But in terms of learning from Vince, man, I'm really excited about that. I've heard phenomenal things from all coaches that I've known in this business for a while, just about how outstanding of a man he is, great relationship builder, phenomenal storyteller, you know what I mean? So those things, man, I think go a long way. And so I'm excited, thrilled to death to kind of learn some of the tricks of the trade from him and trying to develop and grow under him and hopefully can be able to add some of those things to my repertoire and continue to help build this brand of Kentucky football.
Okay, final one is Nick Roush. Nick?
Normally the coaching carousel isn't spinning in May.
Yeah.
June. What are just some of the challenges to taking this job now, particularly with the open recruiting period happening for the first time and seemingly forever?
Yeah. So I mean, it's a challenge, but it's also a blessing in regards of, everybody's kind of just now getting guys on campus. You know what I mean? So it is tremendously different. Usually coming in, in that coaching carousel you mentioned, around February, around January, around December, around those times, right? Those are times where that board is getting on campus. Some of those younger guys are getting on campus, and so you're building those relationships. Well, here, everybody's been virtual, and so I've had a chance to, even at Georgia State, connect with some of the guys that we're recruiting here. You know what I mean? So in terms of virtually, they're familiar with me, Now it's getting them on campus, and everybody's in this same whirlwind of when to get guys here, how to get guys here, official visits, so on and so forth. So that part of it is kind of an even playing field, and just the reality of what we're in terms of the time, But it is very different in terms of the time frame from when I start to when the season starts. And so that piece has been fun. Coach White has done an amazing job of just kind of saying, okay, this is where we are football-wise, all right, and piecing this thing together to kind of help me get up to speed in that regards. And then the last piece, man, is kind of getting a chance to get around my guys, get around our guys and build those relationships just as importantly as this recruiting class that's coming through. So, the virtual piece kind of helped because, again, we were able to kind of touch with those kids. A lot of the kids that we're actually recruiting, we were able to build a little bit of a relationship before, they got to being a SEC caliber player while I was at Georgia State. So a lot of these guys I've been in contact with before, and now it's just putting the name with the face and shaking their hand face to face for the first time.
All right, Coach, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks to you guys in the media. We'll see you soon. I'll let you know when the next thing will be. Appreciate you.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me. Have a good day.